friends. I just wanted to let you know, coming up is Jon Burgmann from Burgmann Insurance Group, and he is going to share with you a whole bunch about how great customer service leads to amazing new clients. So hang on, it's going to start soon.
Today on BNI Mid-America TV, it's the Notable Networker Show. These BNI members have been nominated by their peers for doing amazing things, reaching big accomplishments, and actively displaying the giver's gain philosophy. Listen as they share their golden nuggets for networking success. And now your host, Marcy Cascio-Hale.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to BNI Mid-America TV. This is the Notable Networker Show, and where we get a chance to talk with some of our seriously outstanding members and get their insights on business, BNI, and networking. My name is Marcy Cascio-Hale, and I am your host. And today we have with us Jon Burgmann. Hey, Jon, welcome to the show.
Hello, hello. Nice to see it from this side of the screen a little bit.
That's awesome. And we're so happy to have you here. Jon is from the Burgmann Insurance Group. He is the most trusted source for Medicare information, education, and enrollment. I don't know if you can read that up there or there, wherever you're looking. But he is also with our Belleville chapter, and he holds the Life, Health, and Disability spot. He is a visitor host in the chapter, as well as our guru for the street team for all BNI Mid-America TV editing and that stuff. So thank you so much for joining us today, Jon. I'll go into the rest later. But anyway, Jon, what I want to do is I want to hop right into you telling us about your business.
All right. Well, as you already said, I'm the owner of the Burgmann Insurance Group. My tagline in BNI is the region's most trusted source of Medicare information, education, and enrollment. Basically, we primarily focus on health insurance. Most of our clientele are Medicare age over 65, but we do have some that are, I do work with people under 65 and with small groups. As my category holds, most of my business is related to health insurance, some life insurance, but pretty much I'm the Medicare guy that most people know about.
Awesome. Okay, and so what you just said, you talked about who your ideal client is over 64, 65 and up, I guess, and then individuals with that are on disability or those kinds of things, right?
Sure, anybody on disability or anybody who's turning 65 is going to be eligible for Medicare. But we can also answer questions. I mean, the whole thing about it is that we don't turn ourselves away from anybody who's asking questions for anything. If we can't answer it, we'll find somebody who has the answer for it, but it doesn't matter whether they're our clients or not. One of the main reasons why I do what I do is because there's so much misinformation and confusion going on out there that we want to be a source of factual information. So if somebody has a question, they call us, we'll make sure they get answered.
So would you say that that is the ideal client that you have? What makes them reach out to you is this confusion and all the misunderstanding of what's available? Is that
absolutely? Yeah. Okay. The primary clients that we're looking for are the ones that are the 64 and up, the people that are going on Medicare, the people that have or that are already on it but still have questions and are confused. But yeah, getting them when they're turning 65 is the sweet spot.
And so how do you help address their concerns? What is it that you do specifically that helps them with that lack of information?
I know this may seem strange coming from an insurance agent, but we actually tell them the truth and answer their questions and treat them like normal human beings and make sure. For me, it's not about the marketing or the bells and whistles. It's about making sure you understand the impact of your decision. Okay, there's a lot of times when I tell people, oh, the plan that you have is great, or the option that's given to you by your employer is fine and it'll work great for you. And then there's other times when I'm having to tell people and say, well, you know what, this is what could happen on your plan, and this is what could happen over here. Which do you like better? I mean, the whole thing about it is that the system is stacked against you for anybody who's approaching Medicare. I mean, the amount of stacks and stacks and stacks of papers. I have stuff in here. I boxes full of marketing stuff that has been sent to clients in the past. All the commercials, all the phone calls, which people don't realize are probably better than 50% of them are illegal, and yet people get confused by it. And so we just try to make it easy. We try to clear away the confusion, simplify it as much as we can, so that people can make the best decision for themselves.
I love that you are helping people get an apples to apples understanding of what they have, what they need, what maybe is more than they need. So you're basically tailoring to what they want and what they need. And I love that you're giving them scenarios of, well, if this happens, this is what your insurance will cover that you're being offered, and this is what this other plan will cover. I think that's one of the coolest things ever. And I don't say that about insurance very often, but
I can understand that.
But you talk about so much information coming at you, and half of it's marketing. It's not.
It's so easy to fill your cup. It's so easy for people to get overwhelmed by it and just, well, okay, so let me put it into context for you.
I love it.
Specifically as it relates to Medicare, okay? Without having to explain all about Medicare, what I can tell you is this. In Illinois, which is where we're based, where I'm based, but I'm contracted in probably 10 different states. In Illinois, at least, there are over 50 different companies that sell what are called Medicare supplements. Okay? Each of those companies can sell up to 10 different Medicare supplements. In addition to Medicare supplements, there are also Medicare drug plans. Currently, there are 23 Medicare drug plans available in Illinois. And depending upon where you live, there are also what are called Medicare Advantage plans, which are replacement programs to original Medicare. And depending upon where you live, there's anywhere from 34 up to 50 of those.
Okay.
If you put that together, that's easily over 14,000 different possible scenarios that people have to filter through to be able to make a selection.
I love that they have you in their corner, because after you got to the second variable, I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. Yes. So when I get there, which will hopefully be in a long while, I'm not giving away my age, but I will have you definitely looking into that for me. Now, since you're a BNI member and it's a BNI sponsored show, can you share with us what your biggest or best BNI success story is so far? I know it's challenging.
It's a challenge. I get a lot of BNI referrals from a lot of different areas because of the work that I do with the Above and Beyond team, and as an ambassador with several chapters and that sort of thing. I mean, hey, if you're not utilizing the entire network and you're only viewing your BNI network as being that small chapter that you go to every week, then you're missing out. All right. So I make sure to expand the network as big as I can when I have that opportunity. And so I'll tell you a story of one referral that does stick out in my mind. Years ago, there was over here up in the metro east of Illinois, there was an event that was put together for about 6 or 7 times, and they called it the Catalina Wine Mixer. Okay, Catalina Wine Mixer, and basically it was just an external social event, multi-chapter social event anybody could go to and network. And I remember going to it one time, and I sat down with a guy. His name was Alex Alvarado, and nice guy. And we talked a little bit because he was in insurance also. But he dealt with more group plans, more group health plans, and supplemental benefits for group health companies. So we talked a little bit about it and had a good conversation, and that was it. about 6 or 7 months after that, he calls me up and he says, "Hey, can I refer you to this insurance agent that I know in Highland? He has somebody that has some questions and they're not sure how to answer it." No problem. Great. That started the referral. That referral to that one client then made the agent comfortable enough to refer his own family member to me, who's down in, because he has another office down in West Frankfort, Illinois. That's kind of down in your neck of the woods.
Mhm.
And so I went down there and I met with his father-in-law down in West Frankfort, who the person who ran the office listened into the appointment and then turned around and referred me to 3 other people down in West Frankfort. And then when he heard how well I took care of his father-in-law, the agent up here referred me to 4 other people up here in the Metro East. So, and all of that came from one referral from a networking event that wasn't even in my chapter.
I love that you shared that story, because one of the things I was talking with somebody else about this earlier today is your chapter is just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many other resources and referrals available by you start with your chapter, but you don't end with your chapter. So I love that you use BNI, and you're using BNI to the fullest extent. You follow the program. The program's what gets you results. So it's like anything else. So let's hop over to being named Notable Networker. What do you think about that?
I've always, ever since I got involved with BNI, and ever since I had the ability to step into more than just working with my chapter, I've always done anything I could to try to help out the organization, because the organization is what kept me in business. Okay, I went through, when I came to BNI back in 2014. I had just left a very, very bad situation with my former employer, and was restarting my business from scratch. And it was through BNI that I was able to stay in business during those lean couple of first years and continue to build. So I wanted to give back to it as much as I could. Plus, it kind of expands my network. So I didn't want to, why not, to do that. And so when I have an organization like this that has given back to me as much as it has, I figure I have an obligation to give back to it. However I can do that. So over the years, I've been, I'm a trainer. I've taught advanced trainings for BNI. I've been an assistant director for a while, and most of the stuff I do is as an ambassador, and now helping out with the TV channel and that kind of stuff. But I figure that it's if you're utilizing BNI correctly, you're going to get benefits out of it. If you're getting benefits out of it, then you should be giving back, whether that's on your local chapter level, doing everything you can to make your chapter the best chapter it can be, or whether it's on the regional level, okay, or both. That's just the way that I've always been trained. You help out wherever help can be given.
I love that. Thanks, John. And thanks for doing all you do. I'm just going to say that because if you have watched some of my shows, you know that editing is a factor in how well they turn out. So, and John's the man. So thank you for that.
I'll throw out here about that though, that the editing is I have a degree in mass communications, and I used to be an editor, and that's where my skills come, but they are rusty. So I apologize to anybody who actually does editing right now and looks at it and says, "My God, what is this?" Hey, you're welcome to come join the street team and
oh, yes, we are recruiting for the street team. Anybody that wants to join us, please.
We especially need somebody to help with social media promotion.
I love always working for the team there. Okay, so one of the things that I noticed in your pre-interview is you talked about meeting with individuals in your category. And you talked a little bit about that earlier with talking with the other insurance person. Can you expand on that a little bit? And just, I know it was beneficial for you, but can you explain how that would be beneficial for a roofer or a truck driver or, yeah.
Okay, so we've all been there at some way, shape, or form. We've all been to the point where we're not necessarily in age, but in business, we're young and we're hungry and we're trying to grow and get as much as we can. And I understand that there's a tendency to want to grab as much of the pie as you can get. Okay. But there's also a value in understanding when it's time to let somebody else have a piece of that pie. I've seen it be very, very effective at a lot of different chapters. I mean, in my chapter right now, we have 3 different people that can do life insurance, although life insurance is my category. We have a financial planner, we have a P&C insurance agent, and we have a health insurance agent, which is me. And we're looking to add a 4th insurance agent in terms of a commercial insurance agent.
Mm-hmm.
There's business there and the ability to pass for everybody. I know that there's been times contractors, you mentioned about a roofer or contractor or whatever. You have somebody who's a contractor who can do everything. Sure, they have all the people in their office that can do the painting and the construction and the rebuilding and every step of the process. But if they're willing to take the business that the other jobs, the business that they can't do and share that with the other contractors that are in their chapter, then it goes both ways. It's the theory of giver's gain. If there's a handyman in your chapter and a contractor in their chapter, the handyman might be doing the smaller jobs that the contractor doesn't want to do.
Right.
But you got to be open to that concept that
Mm-hmm.
that might benefit and work out.
And I love how you phrase that, because I'm not in the scarcity mindset. And when you're in the beginning, you're in the scarcity mindset. I've got to have all the business. But when you realize there's enough money for everybody, there truly is. If you're willing to work, there's enough money for everybody. And so when you're not in that scarcity mindset, you're willing and able and much happier to utilize those same professions and maybe specialize a little bit more, or let them specialize a little bit more, so that your client is getting the best alternative for their money. So I appreciate you bringing that out, because I think that's one thing that, especially people when they come to BNI, they're like, I'm so worried I'm not going to have enough business, when really the growth of their business is I know the growth for me has been exponential, and I've worked with other chapters with my same seat with their person, because there really is enough money to go around. That's my opinion. Okay, so before we are done, can you let us know what one piece of actionable advice that you would give to either a BNI member or somebody considering joining a BNI chapter for their marketing? There's so many, but one.
One of the things that I always remind people if they're considering BNI, and I have to remind people that are actually in BNI, is that BNI was never designed to be viewed as a candy machine. Hey, I stuck the dollar in, so give me the referrals, okay? I'm here, here's my membership, bestoweth thine referrals upon me. It doesn't necessarily work that way. You've got to develop those relationships. You've got to have the know, like, and trust factor. And that takes time, and you have to understand that. But it only takes the amount of time it takes you to start having those one-to-ones. So as with anything in business, if you're going to sit back and wait for it, it's going to take a little bit longer, and you might get frustrated. If you go out there and try working it, well, then it expands also to the fact of, you say, well, John, that's great, but hey, I've talked to everybody in my chapter, and I don't know what else to do. Then grow your chapter. If you're not talking with the right people in your chapter to grow your business, then I don't know. leverage the people in your chapter to get the people that you need to talk to in your chapter so that you're doing the right work with the right people.
Mhm.
That's the beauty of BNI.
Well, and I totally agree with you. I would also add, if you've already met with everybody in your chapter, meet with everybody in your chapter again.
Mhm.
And then again, because again, we go back to the visibility, credibility leads to profitability. Because just because John and I know each other and we've met and had a one-to-one for an hour, I could be the same person that he would meet on the street walking my dog and say, hey, what is your dog like? You know, it has to be a relationship building set of conversations. It's just not a one and done, like you said.
I'll give you one more little story for that.
Oh, I love it.
To extend it along. I recently had my featured presentation.
Mhm.
Okay. And I utilized the techniques that are taught to you in the Maximize Your Membership training that's offered to our membership. And for those of you that don't know, one of the things you're doing during that is you're telling stories and you're getting people to write down names of people that they would be willing to introduce you to. And it came up pretty good. I counted up and had 34 viable possible referrals out of my presentation. Okay,
Nice.
and then I had somebody that I consider to be a close personal friend, somebody that I've known for years, come up and say, "Did you ever think about this person? Do you know this person?" And I'm like, "No." "Have you ever introduced me?" "No." "But I just thought of it because of what you just said." So everybody's in their own headspace. It doesn't, even somebody that is one of my closest friends wasn't thinking about that at the rest of the time, but thought of it because of the feature presentation. And that's what may come out from having that extra one-to-one with them. And make it a valid one-to-one, not, hey, let's meet for coffee and talk about the weather, but let's actually talk about how we can help each other.
Right. And I love you. One of my favorite things is to actually utilize what we call the gains profile. And if you're in BNI, you know this because you filled yours out, you've completed it because it's very, very valuable. Is sitting down and going through the gains profile, because when I look at somebody else's gains profile before we meet, I know that I have questions about, oh, they're in Kiwanis. Okay, I want to know somebody in Kiwanis, or they're in the bar association, or they're attending community college. Whatever it is, I know that there are things on that gains profile that can catapult me forward in our conversation on getting a referral or giving a referral. So the one-to-one isn't just this. That is the start of the referral relationship. So yes, I totally agree with you in terms of making a valid and valuable one-to-one. Do you have anything more you want to say about that, John? I'm sorry, I totally went off on a tangent there.
No, that's all right because it's all valid and it all helps. So I'm good. I don't want to bore anybody any longer than what I've already done. So
oh, you're not boring. John, I just want to say thank you so much for, number one, being on the show. Number two, for doing all the editing you're going to have to do on the show. And number three, for being a notable networker, because I want you to know, and I think this was part of the reason why the Notable Networker show came about, is you need to know that people are watching what you're doing. And while you might not get accolades every day, there are people watching you and encouraged by you and following the precedent that you sent and you set. So I just want to say thank you, because before I got further up in BNI, I hear the name Jon Burgmann. And now I know Jon Burgmann. And now I know why I heard about Jon Burgmann. So thank you so much for being you. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for all of that.
Well, you're welcome. And for our viewers, if you'd like any more information on Jon, his business or his BNI experience, just check out the show notes because he's available. He loves to talk. I think you can see that from what just happened today. And I wanted to thank you, the viewers, for spending time with us and encourage you to look for other BNI Mid-America TV shows as well. We have the Go for the Green, the Gold Member Club Spotlight, as well as the New Member Spotlight. And I think we have a couple others in there. So check out the BNI Mid-America TV and please like, share, and click subscribe. And if you want to be alerted to any new BNI Mid-America TV shows that are as they get released, hit the bell by the subscribe button. This is a new thing I did not know was there. So thank you, Jon, for telling me. I appreciate that. And for our viewers, please share with your family and friends, specifically those in your family and friend circles that want to grow their business, because we are here to help and it's kind of what we love to do. So thank you again and have a wonderful day.
For more information on how BNI can help you build your business, book your complimentary consultation with Virginia Moose-Keith at discoverbnimidamerica.com. BNI Mid-America TV is brought to you by the Burgmann Insurance Group, your trusted source for Medicare information, education, and enrollment. Be sure to check out the show notes for additional information on how to contact today's host or guest about their business, and thanks for watching.